Hello everybody. Happy to see all of you and welcome back to today's session organized by VODAN Africa. And my name is Putu Hadi. And you can check the agenda of today's meeting in the chat box. And as always, try to keep your mic muted during the presentation to prevent background noises. And if you have any questions, just type them into the chat box or you can raise your hand. So now I will hand over to Professor Miriam to lead the session. And for the first agenda, it is about the timetable discussion. The floor is yours, Prof. Miriam.
Yeah, thank you, Putu. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everyone. Putu has worked hard with Alia on the timetable because we really need to revise that properly. So I think, Putu, you can start by putting that on the screen and then we can look at it. Hi, Ronald. Good to see you there.
Prof, I guess the link that I shared to you, it is from Alia timetable, but the tab is created by mine is about the checklist of the health facilities and also the person that in charge in the process. So
yeah, do you want to show that?
Okay, I will share that. Wait a minute. Okay, I will. This is the timetable, but I guess Alia can add more about the VODAN project timeline. But right now, I want to list all of the person that involved in VODAN Africa. So we have this Google Sheet. It is about the name and also the main task in the VODAN Africa project, and also what is the position and the subtask description. It means like what is the task description in the CEDAR deployment, for example, and then what is other job description. For example, like me, I'm in access and control, but I also involved in the vocabulary creation. So I will going around the team today, especially tomorrow we will have a discussion with the technical team, and I will ask who in charge, who's involved in the team, and also I will ask country coordinator about the person that in charge for the task. And that's the first Google Sheet, and the second one is about the problem. So I think it is better to put a problem before the preparation, because we should know about what is the problem before the preparation, and maybe after the implementation we will have another problem. So it's better to put to record the problem, all of the problems here. So the country coordinator and also the technical team should put the table here, but maybe I will explain it in details about this tomorrow, and also with the country coordinator team. So basically it is about the problem that happened in the preparation. So in which step, for example, like preparation or the implementation, so who's the reporter, and what is the task, in which task that we have a problem, and then the description of the problem, and then the progress. I mean, it is solved or in progress. And I think I will put other column. The last column is solution, but I will put the urgency here. So maybe it is the status of the urgency is high or low or something like that. But I mean, like if it's high urgency, so we need to solve it as soon as possible. So that's the idea. And we have a recording of a problem that will be recorded in this Google Sheet, and it is good for our preparation and also our plan to solve the problem. And the last one, it is about pilot checklist. But I guess then I will explain this also, because we discussed this about the with the coordinator in the Monday's discussion. So I list all of the health facilities that will be in the pilot implementation, and I check who's the IT person or person in charge to do the implementation. And yesterday we did a discussion about this. And right now in KIU we have Mariam Basaja and Nambombi. In Cambridge we have a set, and also William will be help also with William. And from IBBUL we have Abdullahi Kau and Nambombi. And these are the checklists. There are 5 checklists right now. So basically, I want to make sure that before doing the implementation, so we can tick all of the checklists, then we can go to the implementation. So the 5 checklists is IT person for implementation, power sources, computer, health facilities agreement, and the last one suggested by Professor Francisca is data clerks. So then I should make sure that all of the checklists will be ticked, and then we can go ahead for the implementation. So that's from my side, Professor Miriam. But maybe Alia wants to add about the timeline. So you can go ahead, Alia.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much, Putu. So basically, I don't have anything to add. So basically the main changes that we made in here, so that I made in here, status of the each component, so each task. So basically in yellow we see that tasks in progress, and in green we see tasks that already finished, and some tasks that are like planned for the next year, in here you can see, for instance, deployment in hospital and deployment in in all hospitals. So in the real life data production, except that points. So we are now in line with the timeline. So I think I can send to the chat so everyone can follow up with the tasks and subtasks. So if there are any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, maybe we can have a bit of a discussion with everybody here, and maybe Professor Francesca can also comment on it, in how realistic the time table now is, because we really need to have the the test of the minimal viable product by February is really the latest. So we have had quite a bit of problems in the last month. We have also had a bit of difficulty with the situation in Ethiopia and so on. So not everything is in our control. But I would like from you, Alia and Oljas and Mariam and Professor Francesca, to have an idea about how realistic is this timeline, and when are we really getting the integration of the whole architecture ready, including also from Oluwole, the dashboard. Can people speak to that?
Well, I would say that February, it's not like real. So February 2022, it means a real life data production. Whereas in December, so we, as we discussed previously, the pilot running in December, and January, so it's deployment in all hospitals, including troubleshooting and everything. So the latest is February, so where we assume that like data production in all hospitals will be by that moment. So I hope it's clear.
Yeah, so but my question is also how realistic is that the integration of the architecture then is ready? I mean, if you have to test it in this year, we are now on the 2nd of November. So what are still the critical remaining factors for the integration of the architecture?
I would say, for instance, for the integration, the deployment part, the image and the CEDAR architecture, I mean, localized version, and also including onto portal, will be ready this month, and so we can do the pilot running. So I'm not sure about dashboards, so I wasn't involved in it. So, but this week, so I hope that we are going to have a meeting with Yelin and Oluwole, where we are planning to integrate the query that we have made, and also the visualization that has been made by Oluwole. So to test how we can present data on CEDAR global. So then we can apply that for the CEDAR localized versions. So yeah, that's it from my side.
So thanks, Alia. And Mariam, how do you see the timeline and the bottleneck still to overcome?
Well, I think the timeline should be okay. I think it also depends on how quickly we work on all these different components, and I think by that time, February. January.
No. The staging of the timeline is that, I mean, we were expecting the whole integration of the architecture to be ready in September, and we were going to do the testing in October. But at this moment, we are in a crisis because we don't have an architecture and it is November. So we have not even tested this in we have not had any test in a localized version. So this is a very, very disconcerting situation. And it is one thing is theoretically to kind of say, okay, well, then we do it in December, but we were going to do this to have this ready in September. So we need to have a really good assessment of why are we still not having this. And that is what I'm asking. So the deployment in the 84 health facilities in January and February is only possible if we have been able to have a deployment in the pilot team. And that is only possible if we have an integrated architecture. And I don't get a sense of the seriousness of I don't get a sense why it is not yet there, which was planned for September. Then we gave it some extra time in October, but even now I don't have a sense. So I need a judgment from the technical team on what the issues are and what the timeline is. Francesca, you want to answer to this?
Yes, Prof. I would like to align with Alia on the timeline by being optimistic. But then I also would like to point out that the main issues are not really with us, the technical team, but majorly with CEDAR. If you recall that CEDAR originally was not meant for local deployment. VODAN Africa project is one of the reasons why CEDAR started looking at local deployment. And then it is still not perfect, because even with the successful deployments we have had now, if you look at with the image and everything, we have about 50 gig or so. I was estimating with Oluwole yesterday. So even the CEDAR technical team, they still have a lot of work to do. The onto portal, which Oluwole has deployed, the local version is working, but then the online version has some problems, which is trying to resolve with John.
That is
so majority, sorry, my network is having problems. So majority of the problem is not really with us.
Yeah, but that is a great assessment, Francesca. And thank you for that. But then it's very important that we... Oh, I think Francesca was still saying something, but I didn't hear. She's...
May I ask a point as well? So at some point, we've got lack of resources in the technical team, as you recall. So I think it also caused some issues in the timeline. Since Getu and Samson were in contact, and there wasn't anyone who can really be responsible for the CEDAR deployment. So it took some time for all just also to get acquainted with all the process. So this also one of the issues, I may add on top of the Professor Francesca's points.
Yeah, I mean, let me be very, very clear. I am not saying to anyone here that anyone is not doing something, right? I mean, I am really super impressed with all the team leads that are leading through a very challenging innovation process. I think that the country coordinators group is wonderful. They really got their thing together. I think that Putu is doing a fantastic job in really structuring the whole process. Alia and Mariam, I think that you've really done extremely well in creating all the things in great detail ready for data production and working on the architectural integration. I think Oljas is doing a fantastic job in identifying the problems on the localization, and I'm really happy that Professor Francesca and Oluwola have a good handle on it, as she was clearly just now explaining where she knows the problems are. Who am I forgetting? I mean, this team is a great team. Is a really, so there was absolutely no criticism. I'm just trying to be very clear that February is very soon. And that in order to get, and it's a very big ambition that we have. So I don't want us to underestimate and then later get in trouble and nobody had said anything. So that is my only thing. Let's try to be a bit realistic, like where are the issues, but there is no criticism. This is a fantastic team and we have really gone very far and we have put the ambition high and now everybody wants to fulfill that ambition. So that is, but I want us to also not talk around the, every week we're here and as everything is going fine, but in the meantime, we have lost 2 months. So I want us to discuss where the problems are. And I see Oljas coming on stage. So please, Oljas, give your view on this.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Hello, Alia and Mariam. Sorry for late joining the meeting. I was being in some lessons. So regarding the issues with 2 months delay, there was the problem. First of all, I think lack of communications. That we had a problem with, as you know, that dependence from VODAN. Why we had a problem with the independence with the VODAN, that the virtual image that was shared VODAN had some problem. We tried to troubleshoot it by ourselves, but at the end we couldn't succeed it. So that was a problem. And I want to create the virtual image by myself, but I couldn't. I also ordered personal computer that was also delayed, and now I have one that are suitable for our purposes. So that's the reason that I couldn't create my virtual image and share it with the team, and that was one of the problem that we had. Now yeah, Rudwan and me also at the same time almost created like a virtual image that we had. I also finished it like with all like infrastructure and the services. I will install it, and what I need only the like code, like CEDAR code that. Yeah, I wrote it in a group chat that I couldn't get the link by now. Otherwise, I think that we are on the road. I mean, I have like clearly steps for each infrastructure, for each system that needs to be in the how to install and guidance about that one. Only thing that I left is how to configure this script. I think if you are asking what will be the next step, the next step will be that I'm going to share these steps in the cloud that I have in yeah, that most of you already know that the cloud these steps. Then yeah, the only thing that we had problem with is this virtual image thing, and we tried to how to troubleshoot it by ourselves, and that took a lot of time to understand the problem was actually with a virtual image, but we couldn't understand that the main problem. So that's why we had a problem on delaying these whole things. But then I don't know, Nambovi is here, but from the point of the experience, let's say that from the point of the experience, Nambovi, I think for some extent, he's also very happy that he could able to go through these steps and to understand the things. And I think this will help us to maybe go faster. And so, and I think by the end of this week, I will share this documentations, step-by-step guidance how to install, and it's very clear. And it's only thing that it left, I need to check by myself, like configurations of this code that regarding Ubuntu. So if I will make this guidance, then I think that everyone can be able to install it by themselves. I mean, this. Yeah, that's the point from my side. That's the problem that we had.
Well, that is very, very good news, Olshas. And really, I mean, this is a very innovative project. So there's always going to be unexpected things. So again, I really respect everybody's engagement with this. And it's such a great team. And every time someone has a difficulty, somebody else steps up. So that is very, very good news. From Olawole is not here, right, today, because I would like to hear maybe from you, Aliyah, on the issue of the creation of the backend of the dashboard. That is not really dependent on the localization process, right? Because that could already start on the basis of CEDAR. So can I understand? And again, sorry for putting you, all of you, really directly on the spot, but I'm just trying to get grip. What is the delay there?
So as I mentioned previously, I haven't talked regarding the dashboard. So I'm planning to have a meeting this week with Olawole and Yilin, so we can really touch base on the issues that we have on the dashboards. But I can say that, for instance, we can already integrate CEDAR Stanford with the front-end visualization. So because we kind of have mock data, for the templates. So we basically generate some visualization from that and try to test that part. And then from that, we can really go to the localized version. But it starts when we go the pilot running. But before that, we can do the on the global level the testing. So this week, so by the next week, I hope I'll make an update on the dashboard. So and yeah.
Okay, that is very, very good. All right. So then, in fact, what I hear is that the timeline as it is now presented by you guys is really a realistic timeline within a better understanding of the problems that needed to be overcome. Is that correct, Alia? And Alia, can I ask you one more thing? Professor Francesca said when she was speaking, then the connection disrupted. She said there is a problem still with CEDAR. What did she mean by that?
I think she meant that so the choices like before like during summer we came to the conclusion that CEDAR with the full architecture is best solution for us, but before that we were really thinking about CEDAR embeddable editor. And I think she meant this one, and also then she meant that the image itself, it's around 32 GB, which is a lot. I mean, like for the so which is hot. So these things like, and then they have no Ubuntu, how to say,
operational system.
Yeah, so they only have for macOS, and it also caused some delays because for the technical team to figure out how to deploy and then wrap up image for Ubuntu. It's so these things have been made on our side, and they couldn't how to say, guide us. I mean, like they guided us, but we need to do everything from scratch. So this is, I think that she meant.
Yeah, okay, that is clear then. So, but that was a problem, but we are almost at the point where we have really overcome all of those problems. Yeah. So where we can really go into testing and then deployment mode. Is that a correct conclusion, Alia?
Yeah.
Very, very good. Okay, then I think that is what I wanted to say on the timeline, Putu, and I hand back to you for the agenda. And may I invite everybody to be upfront on issues. Maybe we should also ask the question here, or maybe the country coordinators want to discuss it, whether this timeline fits for the country coordinators. I see Dr. Wandimo here, Dr. Jamal, Dr. Manhibi, Dr. Reginald. So it might be good to get a sense here whether this timeline is workable. And personally, I also had a discussion with Alia. I know that many people, whether it is Dr. Francesca, Oluwole, Alia, Oljas, Putu, Mariam, everybody here has been working for a year almost without a break. So we were also, as we were discussing the timeline, thinking that we must really do the tests with the pilots this year in 2021, then have a little bit of a break, and then start the real process of the deployment in the facilities after the break in January and February, so that people can also really re-energize a little bit. But for that, it also means that the teams really need to be ready to go in 2022. And I think your overview there, Putu, country by country and facility by facility, is extremely helpful to do that and get ready. But I would appreciate on the timeline specifically, if we could hear something from the also, let's see, Dr. Mariam is here, from the country coordinators. Maybe we can do that, Putu, before we then go into all the technical issues.
Okay, Dr. Reginald, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Putu. Very interesting discussions. I think for country coordinator, let me say I speak for Kenya. whenever you are ready, we are ready. That's what has always been our approach. When you are ready, we are ready. Meaning that the 4 health facilities are just waiting for a finished product and then we test. Thank you.
Prof. Miriam?
Yeah, I would. Maybe we can just make a quick round. So maybe I can ask Dr. Jamal.
Yes, Prof. Thanks so much. Yes, we are ready. And the Minister of Health are well informed. That is what is ready. Facility management, facility health facility in churches and Minister of Health in both regional and district are well informed. We are in a better position to start the process. So thanks so much. We are ready on that.
Thank you, Jamal. That's wonderful. Dr. Wandimo. Dr. Wandimo or Dr. Miriam? Dr. Miriam, I see you are ready.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Professor. So regarding Tunisia team, we are working in the modification proposed by John concerning the templates of vocabularies. And we have a meeting with him just after this meeting. We still working in the data entry on CEDAR platform. And we're looking to make some queries about concerning this point. And as you know, we are I'm looking for someone else to replace Zohra, and I hope that I will solve this problem rapidly. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Miriam. And on the note of your work and the other country coordinators are also going to need that. The bulk input, we have had contact with, tried to make contact with Samson. We have not really succeeded yet, but also I think that it's going to be impossible for him to work on it if there is still no connectivity in Mekelle. So this is something that somewhere in the technical teams, this needs to be picked up, the issue of the bug in the bulk input data entry that Samson and Getu prepared. So maybe Putu, that can be on your list and we can take it back, but I think it needs one of, it can be done a little bit later, but it needs someone to really focus on that. I don't think it's a big job, but it needs to be done.
Okay, right. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah. I think that is everyone from, yeah. Who's there? Oh, Alina.
Yeah, I was thinking about Nurullah since he was also working on like the software tool between CEDAR and DHIS. So he has codes and also he has made a lot of job on that. So we can also ask him to work on this one because he's familiar with this process. And I think he is the one who can do this one.
Perfect, perfect, Alia, wonderful. And then on Zimbabwe, Ronald, you want to brief? I mean, basically, we really need to make sure that we have the machine actionable templates ready for you. First of all, before anything, that is important. And in order to do that, we can link you with Mariam or Alia, but we need to decide which are the templates of the outpatients register, maybe if that is appropriate, and the maternal and child health care, which templates from Impilo probably we will use for the machine actionable translation. And then either it can be done for you or one of your team can do it with one of the trainers, and both Mariam and Alia can train. So it's a matter of how you would like your team to come into the process, Dr. Manhibi.
Okay, I think that would be great. Maybe we can just schedule something like 20-30 minutes to actually discover how we can do this in the most in the least possible time.
Yeah. Aliyah, Mariam, or Mariam Aliyah, what is your proposal? Is it how shall we proceed on this?
Well, we could first of all set up a meeting, and then we could have a first session maybe on the template creation, and then have another on vocabulary creation, and probably give some homework in between.
Yes.
So that it's done efficiently. Yeah.
Okay, then I will link both of you. Aliyah, please, yes.
I would add the point that we have the recording of the vocabulary and templates creation. We can also use them. So, and between vocabularies and templates creation, we can give assignment. So, and so the team can work on the template and vocabulary creation, and we can guide on it. But if a team can watch the recordings and then based on that, address any questions or any things that needs to be asked or raised, so it might be also helpful.
Okay, I think that's perfect. I think maybe that could be the first step. You could share that, and then we can go through that, and then we can schedule something. I think we are available if we are going to meet before the next meeting. We are available tomorrow and Thursday, and then we would be available from the 9th to the 12th. So those are the dates for maybe just a possible plenary session. But maybe since you suggested that you've got some material already, we could start that from there.
Yeah, that actually sounds great. You could start with the videos, and then we can give you a detailed maybe introduction sometime next week, because this week is actually quite occupied for us as well. So yeah, so that works fine.
Yeah, I think thank you. I think that should be all.
Yeah, and Dr. Manhibi, I also wanted to ask you, Dr. Van Stam has been advising us on how we could proceed with the backup procedure. And I'm wondering, I think this actually that he was communicating on work that you have done actually. So my question is whether you would consider, I mean, we can get back on it, but in picking that up and advising the whole team here on the procedure for that, and that maybe also if it has already been tested in Zimbabwe, that this is brought into the training that PUTU also gives for the health facilities, that the health facilities will be clear on how that would work, how that should work.
Okay, I think we can certainly share our experience and also be able to be of assistance in extending our help. Yes.
That's wonderful. So PUTU, if you can, in your list, you can identify that the backup procedure is under the responsibility of Dr. Manhibi. And
Okay,
then he will be reporting back on that. I'll share with you, Dr. Manhibi, what I received from Dr. Gedjan. Then you can review it. And then I will link you. I'm not even an executive coordinator, so I really need to link you with Mariam on this. But then it can be reported here for everybody to understand that this is also under control, that we know what we are going to do.
Okay. No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that is everything on this round of the planning. PUTU, back over to you.
Yeah, Prof. Miriam. Actually, some of the agendas are covered by the first discussion. I think we need to move to discussion on data encryption in the repository. So, Prof. Miriam, you can go ahead for that about the data encryption in the repository.
Yeah, I don't know. This is an open discussion because we have never really discussed it yet. So everyone really am interested in your views. But should we? The data will be reposited. The data and the metadata will be reposited within the health facility. Do we need to encrypt them for the security of the data within the facility proper? What are there any views on that? Or Professor Francesca, maybe you are already ignorant and you're already clear on this. But is this something that we need to discuss now that we are coming to the end of the integration of the architecture? Professor Francesca, how you see this?
Yes, Prof. Sorry, I was saying that yes, we could consider the encryption, which is a good idea, well thought of. We can also find out from John if CEDAR contains encryption tools. Otherwise, it's something that our own team can do in-house to the encryption and decryption process. But if CEDAR already contains encryption tools, then we'll now have this team of authors look at it if it is part of what is being localized.
Alia? Thanks, Francesca. Thanks. Leah?
Yes, I was thinking about encryption for the book input to enter DHIS. So I think that may be more secure if we transfer, like data from the data repository to DHIS, where data is encrypted. So we will be sure that there will be no data loss or data breach. So if data is encrypted.
So it is right to ask Putu to add 2 more tasks to the list, and that is the encryption of the data in repository, the data and the metadata, and the question to CEDAR, which I think Alia needs to raise with Oljas, whether this is part of the CEDAR system or not. You would think it was, but we have never discussed it, I think. And so that is number 1. And number 2 is the encryption of the pipeline from the metadata into the DHIS system. Is that clear, Putu?
Yes, that is clear. I will put it on the timeline.
Okay. Great. Back to you, Putu.
Okay, thanks, Prof. And I think we should back to Alia. It is about the. Can you present about the VODAN onto portal, Alia?
And sorry, Putu, to interrupt, but there is a question of Abdullahi.
Oh yeah, sorry.
On something.
Wouldn't this add to the timeline? Can it come as
Abdullahi, can you speak? Yeah. Maybe.
Can you speak, Abdullahi?
Yes, Professor Mariam, thank you. I was just saying the issue of encryption. I was just looking at it from the technical point, and given the timelines we have now set out, if it will be a distraction now for the technical team, can they divide it into next updates? It's good discussion, but I'm just worried that it gets in the way of the timeline again. Just saying.
No, that's a good point. What is the view of Francesca on that, Prof? Or Alia?
I think this is a very good point from Abdullahi, since it really requires resources. I mean, like someone who can really work on, since yeah, some like development is required for that. And yeah, I think we need to think about that. Yeah.
So maybe we can explore this and get back on this next week. I think that is a good idea. I would say that for the minimum viable product, the safety of the data is really a issue of success. So that the data are safe in repository is really, really critically important. And so I think for the work of Putu on the access and control, it is important that not everybody in the health facility can enter this data. So if not encrypted, then it still needs to be replaced with some safety procedure that that is secure. So can we take this discussion back then for next week, Putu, and maybe in your team this can also be discussed as part of the access and control work.
Yeah, I agree, Prof. Miriam. But at least if we don't want to encrypt right now and will be encrypted later, but we have, I should be really clear about the procedure of the data safety. I mean, like, I guess the first question that will be asked by the health facilities will be about the security of the data. So I will be really clear about that before the implementation. But we should discuss it later.
And Mariam, on the suggestion that Nurullah would work on this, how feasible is that?
Well, I think it's quite feasible. And then also the suggestion of Abdullahi, this actually stretches the timeline. So I was actually thinking that since as we're mostly going to be working with aggregated data, because the DHIS2 mainly uses aggregated data, we could probably start with mock data for the test and not real data within the facilities. I don't know if that's a good suggestion. But besides that, I think, yeah, doing the pipe, because currently we're actually done with the pipeline that moves the metadata from the CEDAR system into the DHIS2. And currently we're working on the documentation, steps on how to, basically the steps on how to use the algorithm and so on and so forth. But the only issue is that we were working with the DHIS2 demo. So I've actually been trying to organize a meeting with some personnel that have had direct contact with the DHIS2 in Uganda. And we actually plan to have that meeting today after this meeting. So hopefully the data management personnel will be available because they're currently busy within the facilities. But yeah, we should be able to have the meeting after this.
Okay, so that means that that's great news that the pipeline is getting ready and tested. So then between you, Mariam, and Nurullah, and Putu, I think that this issue about the encryption can be prepared. I am not at all myself in favor of using mock data in the health facilities, because I think we shouldn't have engaged the health facilities proper if it wasn't to work with data that are really meaningful to them. So I really think that we need to do this in real life with real life data, and that allows us the best scope to see what works. But of course, we have to make sure that the security of the data is that we have that whole procedure under control. But that is with you, Putu. But in terms of that, the potential for the technical solutions there, I would suggest that you discuss that then with Mariam and Nurullah in the first place, and then we'll take it back next week.
Okay, bro. will discuss with Mariam and Nurullah. I think I'll move to the next agenda. Alia, can you update about the VODAN onto portal?
Basically, the local version have been deployed, and there are some issues with the online version, and Oluwole is working on it, and he wasn't able to join this meeting for some reason. So yeah, he's working on it.
Thanks, Alia, for your update. And I think the next agenda is update of the country coordinators meeting. So, Dr. Reginald, you can go ahead for the floor is yours, Dr. Reginald.
Yeah, thank you, Putu. I think most of the points have been covered. So maybe the only highlight was to welcome Ronald and Kudakwashe. And Putu, you have covered most of the points we discussed last week. Then we did a round for the different countries, Jamal, and then Nigeria, Ibrahim, the points you have covered in your report. And then the last one was just to encourage us to support the teams that are working so hard, especially the technical teams led by Mariam, Alia, Putu, and Bobby. So what Professor Francesca has said, and we look forward to having a meeting tomorrow to catch up on the point that have been raised so far. Thank you.
And then I also still have an announcement, Putu, or announcement. I would like to say that Frederick and I will be working on the budget analysis again soon. I need to find a time with Frederick, but I know he's always readily available. And I would like to have input from the, especially the technical teams, on the items that are really necessary to progress. And then, of course, we are also going to make the budget for the country coordinators for the actual deployment and so on. So that work needs to start also to stay in line with this timetable. But I would like to ask Alia, Oljas, Putu, Mariam, Nambobi, Olawole, you know, the people working on critical issues to get now ready for the pilots. If there are things that in terms of the finances need our attention, send me a note, or send me and Professor Francesca a note or something, Frederick a note, so that we deal with it also in the shortest possible time.
Yeah, Prof. I have a comment about that. Actually, Professor Francisca was in the discussion yesterday. So it is there is a problem about the power sources, and Dr. Ibrahim and also Din Jamal suggest allocate for the power sources, because I think it is not only the health facilities for pilot, but I guess it will be another problem with the power sources. So that's my concern, and I already discussed this with Professor Francisca, because I cannot comment about that. So Professor Francisca was in our discussion yesterday. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, the answer I think has to be quite clear, is that we have allocated 1,000 per health facility for everything related to the deployment. So that is the computer, that's the data clerk, that is the connectivity, and that is the power. And there is no more budget. That is the budget that we have. So that means that the power solution needs to be found within that budget. And if not, we have to have an exclusion criteria for health facilities that don't have, I mean, if they have not any power and it cannot be done in the budget, then they basically cannot qualify for this round.
Yeah, okay, bro.
because it's not, we can't realize it, you know, we simply don't have more resources than that.
Okay, so you already answered that. Maybe is there any comment from Dr. Ibrahim or Din Jamal or other country coordinator? Oh, there is a question from Seth. What operating system is used for the system, Windows or Linux? I guess it's Linux. Is that right, Alia? Or do you want to explain about that? Alia, you can go ahead. Alia?
Yeah. Regarding the budget, so tomorrow we are going to have a meeting for the in order to discuss the minimum requirements. So I think in the scope of the meeting we can also discuss this one and what are the minimum. So we have the basic requirements. So but tomorrow we'll have a further discussion on it, and I think we can. I can update you on that after the meeting, so we can also include this into the budget. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Linux, right? Because the question is Windows or Linux, or
Linux. Yeah.
Linux.
Yeah, Linux, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm muted. Sorry. Then we will move to the next agenda. It is from special issue updates. Is Misha here to update about?
No, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have only one update, especially for Esther, but she was here, but maybe she's left now. That we took the decision that on the fair equivalency, we stick with, oh, I see that Esther's there. That we stick to the terminology of the fair equivalency as is consistent with the advanced genetics article that was already published. So we thought it was unwise to change the reference. So we will, I think Mariam has communicated that. So other than that, we're now really in the final phase. I have no further updates. I'll be coming back on that.
Yeah, Prof, it was helpful. Because one reviewer and got me thinking I needed to communicate Misha. One reviewer was mentioning fair relatedness, and that kind of got me a lot more confused on how to go forward with the paper even.
Yeah, so those comments on the terminology of fair equivalency, you should stick with the method from the first article of Mariam. We asked you to follow that methodology, and I have had a long discussion with Mariam on the background to those comments, and those comments came from a good consideration, but also the consideration of Mariam on that terminology is valid and has already been published in Advanced Genetics. So we are not changing that. So in your report, you can basically refer to the decision by Mariam that this is not changed, and therefore all of the articles on fair equivalency should not be changed on that terminology.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Ina?
Hey, I think, so when the reviewers got back to me, I changed it. So now that we are sticking to that decision, will you change it on your end when you get it back? Because now I need to reverse that change.
Yeah, it's better that you do it. Yeah.
Okay, so should I wait for them to get back to me, or should I wait for them, or should I send them a new one with fair equivalence instead, or what?
You have sent it to it has been sent to the reviewers now.
Yeah.
I think we leave that. I'll think about it. That you can leave with me. That's my
okay. Great.
Thanks, Ina.
No problem.
That's it, Putu.
Okay. Then if there is no so the last agenda is question and any other business. If if there is any issues that we want to discuss here, but I think we'll close this meeting because it's already more than 10 minutes. So okay, then I will close the meeting. So thanks everyone for the participation. As always, the meeting will be uploaded on YouTube and also in channel of VODAN Africa. And see you next week. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Putu.
Thank you, Putu. Thank you, Maria.